mean everything to me because I know you mean everything to Christ. And Christ means everything to me.
I called on the Lord. I said, man, Father, this is real. Will you watch over them? Will you raise them up to be strong? I'm just a man with flesh. This is what you called for in your scriptures. You said they wore studs and fringes, they got it on. You said they will follow the law, they doing it. You said under your house shine, they ought to love one another. And they doing it.
We're in front of the Israeli School, Universal Practical Knowledge, the Philadelphia Division, here at 3226 Cheltenham Avenue in Philadelphia. We're standing in front of the school right now, getting a description of the 12 tribe sign that's been painted by one of the brothers that was in the school: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom. Shalom. You've been waiting for this day, so this day has finally come. A lot of you have been wondering where this knowledge that you've been hearing is coming from, and the powerful truth that you've been hearing, how this was established. Well, we finally were able to arrange for the priests to come down from New York and spend some time with us. And I'd like to introduce them if I can. These are some great brothers. We're very glad to have them with us. We want to make them feel as warm as possible because this is their work and the extension of their work and what they've laid down some time ago. I'd like to introduce, first of all, priest and Sixth Shield General, 4th in command in the nation of Israel, Lahab. I'd like to salute this brother. Macho. Barak. Yeshabim, which means sit. And I'm going to turn it over now to Priest General Lahab.
Water, brother. I'd like to say this, starting off, we're very impressed at your school here, and we're very impressed to see that the brothers and sisters in Philadelphia think enough of the Most High and the Bible and the truth and your nationality to be a part of this, because most of the brothers and sisters are running from the truth.
Welcome to ISUBK Detroit. Check us out on all social media platforms. Classes are Monday through Saturday. Monday is the history class from 7 to 9 p.m. Tuesday is scripture breakdown. Wednesday is biblical law class. Friday, Lashawan Kodash, Hebrew language. Saturday, the Sabbath service. Check out our community service program. We have food and clothing drives, helping the people in need. And we also have felony expungement services available. Join us and get involved.
ironic.
You know the truth is the truth, that's all I know. Cry loud and spare not, you gon' get exposed. A few real niggas left, you not one of those. Real soldiers, we was born to stand 10 toes. If he ain't one West, that nigga not one of mine. He got a purple 12, me, I got a black 9. The truth is the wife of my youth, chopper my concubine. Had to die to get my rib, that bitch forever mine. You know the game, a bishop gotta be blameless. But GMS teaching niggas to be rapists. They screaming we snitch. When Jordan Morgan was killed by your brother, y'all ain't say shit. Real prophets only dwell in the UPK, PSA, we don't sign NDAs. Real prophets only dwell in the UPK, PSA, we don't sign NDAs.
Hey, 100 deep, 100 shields on, that's 100 priests. 100 boots, that's 200 feet. Tongue like a sword when I fucking speak. Teach you how to fish instead of fucking leech. Stop selling drugs instead of trying to fuck with me. Knowledgeable but I'm rude in my fucking speech. Life is about warfare, not no fucking peace. Bitch, I cry loud when I fucking speak. Make them wait a year before they fuck with me. Turn a street nigga to a fucking priest. Cause a priest and I promise you forever sleep.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
UPK soldiers got them killers with me. And I don't fuck with every spot cause it's too iffy. Real motherfucking prophet cause the Lord with me. But don't get that shit twisted, I got Drake's with me. Yeah, bitch, and that whole 50. Run up on me wrong, you gon' catch 60. Wait, you gon' catch 20. The other 30 for your homies, bitch, I got plenty. And I'll shoot this motherfucker till that clip empty. Taking orders from your bitch, you a fucking simpy. Shit, should be televised. The way I'm cutting niggas up, bitch, I'm a samurai. Niggas swear they in the truth, but telling hella lies. Stumping like you Greek, bitch, you Hellenized. The revolution gon' be televised. And what I see in my vision gon' leave you petrified.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas? UPK soldiers lead cowards in awe. So fuck a gas stop, I came with 6 pumps in my car. My niggas ready to swing, we like kids at the park. So touch a chair around this bitch and we breaking your jaw. They think we Christian, but we not. Nothing about us is soft. I don't know what you niggas on, but that shit get you off. We booted up. We came to take zones for real. Black 40 under my garment, I be dressed to kill. Fourth dimension sitting linger, I be fresh for real. Putting scripts on your corners, but these here ain't pills. We rock covers. You official if you know those drills. Bread and water, you official if you know those meals. Yeah, you niggas soldiers get rolled over. You got police in your pocket, I got a judge in my holster. Oppressors out to get us, so remain sober. Or be chained to them chains till there's nothing that remains of us. A cult leader like Christ, we got the same culture. I bang on them, tell my enemies the reign's over. I up the cig and keep pulling like a chain smoker. The game ain't changed, One West stayed the same on them. One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
Niggas talking prophets, yeah, we got plenty. We the reason why it's Israelites around the city. Call Kazak, tells the rock, bring Shamar out. We about to slide on him, see what niggas talking about. Young dog think he wise cause he a Kim head. That shit lame, they didn't survive, nigga, Kim is dead. Where I'm from, little nigga, is a dirty game. I pledge allegiance to Yahweh, bitch, I'm UPK. Nigga, let's talk bodies. Set up on your corner, wake up everybody. Big priest, until I'm dead deceased. The mission is complete until you're off the street. Saw y'all on the internet, stumping down the street. But take the poor and the weak. Touch a sister or a brother, you gonna be sleep? But take the poor and the weak.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga?
Fucking with the brothers, then I'm giving out major pain. Clip full of ball heads, I'm shooting out Damon Wayne's. Driven ambition, I ain't never changing lanes. Wise as an old man, but I ain't slanging cane. This ain't a game, this shit way deeper than rap. You speaking the cap, but the shit y'all speaking is cap. I'm 5,000, but I still keep it a stack. I'm in the truth, not cause back then I was seeking the fact. Cry aloud for the niggas that's deep in the back. And the Lord with me, ain't no reason for keeping the strap. We peep the attacks, niggas say we ain't speaking the facts. Stealing breakdowns every time we teaching in class. Niggas snitching, y'all out here squeaking with rats. We be on the street corners teaching that Jesus is black.
We on 125th Street, Harlem, nigga, you see where we at?
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga.
Test, cool. Shalom, Israel. Shalom, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shabarakatah, the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Latah Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, the sisters. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started on 125th Street, Harlem, New York in 1969. And we are currently, our leader, the man in power, we follow Commanding General Yohana, right? And our message, our purpose is to get out here and teach our people, the 12 tribes, Black, Native American, Hispanic folk, who they are according to this Bible, right? We know that this so-called Christian church has taught us inaccuracies about this Bible since slavery. Black man, your history don't start at slavery. You know, Native American man, your history don't start at the Trail of Tears. You know, your history don't start when Christopher Columbus came over here and called you savages, right? Understand, Native American man, is that he attacked the Hispanic man in was so-called southern parts of America, South America now. He attacked those folk down there because it's believed that he landed near the Caribbeans and started to pillage those individuals down there first, right? If you look at the name of the class, you know, they buried us. So understand is that your enemy, your oppressor, has buried your history, right? If I was to tell you that your history was encased in the book of this so-called, well, I ain't gonna say so-called, the book of the prophecies, which is the Bible, you wouldn't believe me. The reason why you wouldn't believe me, because you have been taught your entire life that this Bible is about a particular people. And your entire life, you have never been able to align yourself with these people, right? The ISUPK has brought out the alignment of Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, right? Those are the individuals of the 12 tribes, how you align yourself with this Bible, right? The ISUPK started in on 125th Street in 1969, set out to prove that you are the children of the Most High. You are the children of Israel, right? You are the descendants of the priests and prophet that scribe that wrote these words, that said these words, that did these things. You are the descendants of those people. And what we do in the ISUPK, we teach you that you are the descendants of those people. And guess what we do? We show you in scripture that you are the descendant of those people. Today, Monday night history class, right? So we're going to go over some historic things that happened to you, Israel. We're going to go over some historic things that happened to you. Some things that, a lot of times when we go over history is not the class that a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot of people enjoy. I'm going to say this history is not the class that's going to make you happy, right? Sometimes we bring out in the things of this, in this history class, we bring out some very tough, some very harsh historical facts, right? Historical things that happen to you, to you. And when I say to you, I'm talking about the 12 tribes. I'm talking about those children of Israel. I'm talking about God's chosen, the one God said that the Most High God said that you are, that he's going to make you rulers of all the earth. Talking about those people, right? I'm talking about everybody except the people that God said he's going to make, they are likened to spittle unto him. I'm talking about God's favorite and chosen people. Those are the people that I'm talking about, right? And when I'm talking about those individuals, understand is that since you didn't follow let me not put this on you. Since we didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High God allowed some things to happen to us. He allowed our enemies to take over us, right? He allowed our enemies to put us in slavery. He allowed our enemies to put us into subjection, right? That was that whipping, that butt whipping that your parents dish out, right? But understand, if you living in your parents' house and you don't, you're a child living in your parents' house and you don't abide by mama and daddy rules, right? Pops pull that belt out, all right? Pops punish you. Pops do a lot of different things because you understand that, most two-family households, in our community, the mother's the nurturer, right? She the one to tell the pops, oh, that's too much. You punish him too harshly. No, woman, step aside. Allow that man, allow that man that is a priest and a prophet in the ISUPK, allow him to go ahead and handle the discipline for those children. He ain't gonna kill them. He's not going to kill them. He's not gonna hurt them and abuse them. Commander General Yohana will not allow him to do such a thing, right? So if that man is a priest and a prophet in the ISUPK and he disciplining those kids, woman, step aside, right? If you got a problem with it, call his camp leader, right? Call his camp leader. Talk to that young man. Well, I can't say young man because a lot of us is a little, young man. Talk to that young man's camp leader, right? Talk to the camp leader. The camp leader gonna say, hey, them kids might have needed they tail whipped. Them kids might have needed, a harsher punishment than what they usually get because the normal punishment didn't give the right correction or course of action, right? So understand that when our God, the Most High God, punishes us, he's punishing us because we're not following his laws, his statutes and commandments that we were told to follow back in the days of Moses, right? These laws, statutes, and commandments are unchanging. They don't change. It's not like, okay, today I want you to do this and then tomorrow I want you to do that. They don't change. That's why it's written. These words in this Bible, unless somebody comes in and tries to corrupt you, they don't change, right? So if these words of this Bible are not changing, why? What are you changing into, right? If you're to change, you're supposed to change into being a better you at following these words, these laws, these statutes, these commandments, right? But before I get too far off a subject, Yabashim Yashab Brakatah, what's going on, sir?
Hey, Yabashim Shabrakatah, what's going on, right?
Hey, good. You see the name of the class?
They buried our people. Khan.
They buried our people.
Khan.
And I'm explaining the reason why our people were buried is because we didn't follow laws, statutes, and commandments.
Khan.
Right. And before we jump into, to get into the depth of the class, sir, if you want to say something, then I got a scripture I want to pull.
Yeah, I would just say, that topic that you pulled is real heavy, and exactly what you said is exactly what was going through my mind, is that our people, we don't understand the value and the importance of our culture. We don't understand the importance of obeying the Most High, obeying the commandments that He gave for us, and it affects everything that we do. You know what I mean? Like, if we really wanted to come out of this condition that we're in as a people, we would change our lives and start obeying our Father.
Yes, sir.
Things like they buried our people, all the crimes, all the disgusting things that have happened to us, is because we lost our protection as a people. We don't have somebody that fights for us and protects us from all this effery that's going on in the world. I was just talking to a brother in the world, and he was telling me about a court case and this and that he has coming up that he wants to fight. And my immediate thought is, had you had the Lord on your side, your condition would be different. So, to the point, it's a really heavy topic. I pray brothers and sisters are really taking in the information that's brought out tonight, and be really changed as a people. So yeah, that's it.
What's heavy about what you said is that Laban and I were working on a promo last week for the expungement program, and we talked to a few individuals, but we talked to one brother in particular that we was trying to, we got to go out and get some interviews and stuff like that, right? So let me plug the expungement program real quick. Hey, if you got any questions, like the ISUBK is here to help our people, right? And understand this is that under the word of commanding General Yohana, we are to help our people get certain things that are on their record expunged, removed, right? Sealed, locked away. And the reason why that we are doing this is because any felony and certain misdemeanors on your record affects you of getting, from getting everything from assistance and housing, getting jobs, certain jobs you can't get. They just started to allow those individuals, even though we don't vote here in the ISUBK, there are some people that voted, and for a while it had took away those rights. And what is it, the 14th Amendment, the 13th? Which one of the amendments say that the one that gave us freedom unless you committed a crime?
That's the 13th Amendment.
The 13th Amendment, right? So if you committed a crime, that crime on your record, when the 13th Amendment was written, and sir, if you could pull that up real quick, the 13th Amendment was written that if you committed a crime, right, you could be put, back into servitude, into like slavery, right? You could become a slave again, and understand that we're a slave in this society, right? But understand that was the whooping your back slavery. You could be put back in that whooping your back slavery, picking cotton slavery, right? Until the nubs of your fingers start to blister and bleed. It was a movie I watched the other day. Y'all have to understand that Shayawan don't watch movies. I do. So the name of the movie, I'm gonna see if he's seen this one. The name of the movie was Alice.
Alice,
See, Alice with the girl who just broke up with her husband over Usher. She was a star in it. Remember Akilah and the Bee?
Nah.
See, I told you, this I don't think you got television. I cannot remember her name, but remember the young lady. she was, you know, I guess she was on stage doing some provocative dancing with Usher, and her baby daddy found out, and they just broke up.
God.
So she stars in it as Alice. Now, in this movie, Alice is a slave, right? She is a slave. They getting whipped, they getting their back beat, everything, right? And you know, constantly trying to escape from the plantation. So she finally gets away from the plantation. And when she gets away from the plantation, she's running miles, and eventually she run into a freeway, and a 1976 Mustang go past her. What year was slavery technically abolished? 1865. Before the invention of the car.
God.
So how did a 1976 Mustang almost run her over? Because the oppressor had got together, became confederate with some other oppressors and some other nations, and had these people thinking it was the 1800s on this plantation.
Right.
That sounds just like something the oppressor would do.
God.
You got these people thinking it's the 1800s, and she had to run miles and miles and miles to get away from this plantation. And when she finally got free, almost got hit by a car.
Dang.
So she ended up hooking up with what's the rapper name? Common. She hooked up with Common, and they basically came back to free all the other slaves. Right. But this goes right with the scripture I wanted to pull up. And I'm sure you're familiar with this scripture. We say this at every Sabbath service. So this is Psalms 83. I'm gonna start at 2.
God.
Says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they have hated thee, and have lifted up the head. Verse 3 says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4, they have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna add 5 to it, right? It says, and 5 says, for they have consulted together, it's talking about the enemies, with one consent. They are confederate against thee, right? Then the next scripture starts to name, some of the people, the nations that were confederate against thee, right? Understand is that we have an enemy, but as men and women, as the children of Israel, right? We don't have a friend outside of the children of Israel when it comes to getting justice, right? These laws and everything that are passed, are passed to keep us from becoming a nation. These laws that they are confederate against the children of Israel, right? And one of the things that I wanted to bring out tonight, that it says your enemy make a tumult, your enemy make a big brazen rising up noise. He yelling, it's like a shout or scream, a noise of victory against the children of Israel, right? Because they feel they feel that they have won, they have destroyed the children of Israel. They've done what they wanted to do, right? And to prove that they've done what they wanted to do is that, black man, where is your flag at? Where's your flag? Don't say the American flag. That's America. For you, sir, you live in Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
Your flag ain't the Canadian flag, that maple leaf, that red and white maple leaf, is it?
Hell no.
You know, my flag ain't these stars and stripes. You understand? Right? Even if you look at our Native American man and that live close near us, right? On the reservations. His flag ain't them stars and stripes. Right? And the reason why is because one, we didn't follow these laws, statutes, commandments, and our enemies have made a tomb. They come against us. They're confederate against us. They want to bury us. They want to bury us, right? And as long as we're buried, that means that as long as we're under their foot, as long as we're under their authority, right? As long as we're under their foot, under their authority, if it's up to them, we will never rise up. That's why when the Most High punished David, right? He asked David, he said, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, he asked David, he said, David, do you want to be punished by me or you want to be punished by your enemies? And David basically said, no, Most High, I'd rather be punished by you because the enemies ain't gonna never let up. Your enemy is not gonna let up off of you, you know, as long as he's on top of you. He's gonna keep you buried. Right? He's going to keep you buried. And we're saying that is that, you know, we bring out in this class a lot of different we brought out before in this class a lot of different towns, a lot of different areas that was buried, right? And one of the things that I want to bring out today, sir, you can jump in whenever you would like, please.
Okay.
One of the things I want to bring out today is that for you Black, Native Americans, and Hispanics that are in that drink from the drink. What does the scripture say? Of
the cup.
Drink from the cup of the so-called America. Drink from the cup of the so-called America. Let me show you what your oppressor has done to your people. You know, let me show you what your oppressor has done for your people, right? Does anybody, right, sir? If you get a minute, sir, you know, please check the comments. Does anybody know what the Pentagon is? The Pentagon, I believe, is in Arlington, Texas. Where is the Pentagon located? Arlington Cemetery? Nope. Washington, D.C. Washington.
In D.C., no?
In D.C. The Pentagon. What does the U.S. Pentagon do? That's what I want to see. It says the U.S. Pentagon, 5-sided building in Arlington County, Virginia, near Washington, D.C. It says that served as the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense, including all three military services, Army, Navy, and Air Force. Do you know what that means? Right. So we have 3 levels of the military, right? 3 grades of military in the United States. You have the Army, which mostly is like foot soldiers. You know, that's the boots on the ground. Then you have the Navy. That will be the water defense, you know, submarines and ships, boats and stuff like that. You know, that would be the Navy. When the United States sends out these big aircraft carriers or these submarines, you know, that's a combination. The reason why I took away the aircraft carrier, because that's a combination of Navy as well as the Air Force on those aircraft carriers. Submarines are the Navy. If you ever heard of the term Navy SEALs, usually the Navy SEALs are dropped off in a boat. They go somewhere, you know, 6 to 10 of them, and tear everything the hell up. Right? It was said the SEAL Team 6, if you're familiar, the SEAL Team 6 were Navy SEALs. These are the most highly trained SEALs, and they're like I don't know if you're familiar with a sweeper team, But these SEAL Team 6 was like a sweeper team. And sweeper teams, what they do is their agenda is to go into an area and take somebody out, right? So they go through, they sweep the area, they take out everybody on the way to get to this individual or these individuals, right? And then they sweep those people, they take them out. So that's what happened with Bin Laden. They send the SEAL Team 6 in there. SEAL Team 6 went in there in a helicopter, right? They dropped them off in, near wherever Bin Laden was staying, right? In some type of compound with his wives. They went in there and killed they unalived just about everybody, right? They unalived Bin Laden there, brought back his remains, tested his remains, the DNA in his remains to make sure it was him, and got rid of him, right? And then they had a so-called water burial or funeral to abide by his religious beliefs. So they went and took him out just to bury him, the way that he, according to his religion, right? And then you got the Air Force. The Air Force are the F-16s, the jets and stuff like that, fighter planes that attack the air. But all of these defenses, their headquarters is at the Pentagon. So, Army, Navy, and Air, their headquarters is at the Pentagon. The thing about the Pentagon is that area, what was the Pentagon before it became the Pentagon? What was in that area? Have you ever looked up and said, what was in this area that the Pentagon is in now before it was the Pentagon? Sir, I know because I sent you the information. And before I get into it, sir, do we got any questions, real quick comments?
Just quick comments. Shout out to Shara Yaquar, Officer Kaar, Nawa, and Nashar Gapar. Yahweh Shem Shabbat Yahweh Shema Thumb Shem Shai. Just some brothers and sisters checking in.
Okay.
We have one comment. It's not really nothing big. He just said, from Earth is Ghetto, says, if your flag isn't the stars and stripes, go to where your flag is, forever the victims. He says, it has to be embarrassing as a man talking about another man holding you back.
Oh.
Ain't nothing big. The only thing I was thinking of that, if I could just.
Please, before I rip him a new one.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, to me, it's embarrassing as hell to follow the culture of the people who have done like so many disgusting things to our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you're a brother or not, but if you are a coon or a brother, you know what I mean? Like following the ways of your oppressor, that is embarrassing as hell. And if you're not a brother, you know what I mean, I would be disgusted and ashamed of who my people are.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? Like every time I open the news, I see a picture of a white man who's just sexually assaulted a little girl, sexually assaulted a little boy.
His daughter, his niece, his nephew.
Yeah, he's sleeping with his cousin. You know what I mean? He's getting caught at the border with drugs nonstop. You know what I mean? Just there is no bigger criminal on earth than the European man, and I would be ashamed as hell, if that's who my nation of people was.
That's so heavy. It's so heavy what you're saying because the oppressor has no shame in the things that he's done to humiliate, break down, and kill, steal, destroy. He has no shame in that, and that's why a person said, I wouldn't feel like a man talking about somebody else is holding me down, right? If that's the case, why do they redline cities like Detroit? Black people ain't doing that, right? Why do they redline? Why do black people get more time for the same crimes than other people? We just had a Asian man, a man of Asian descent. He stabbed I think it was 2 people, and they were going to give him like 20 years in prison. So what this man did was he painted himself black, and he said the reason why he painted himself black is because the court of law is treating him like a black man. Because the court of law is treating him like a black man. Every nation know that the 12 tribes, black, Native American, Hispanics, are getting shitted on by this government. Right? They're getting abused, misled. Look, why is it that a black man is 2 to 3 times more likely to be unalived by the police than anybody else? Why is it that a black man is 2 to 3 times more likely to be arrested for something that he did not do more than anybody else? The proof is in the pudding. The Central Park 5, they didn't do anything to that girl, but yet and still they spent time in jail because a young white woman was sexually assaulted in a park. So the Central Park 5 in Central Park, the Central Park 5 spent time in jail because something happened to a white woman. And then your president, Donald Trump, put out a full page ad about the things that should happen to these young men when they were completely innocent. And then after it found out that they were innocent, never apologized. Still stands behind that article to this day, knowing that these men are innocent, right? And the only reason why these men can't sue Donald Trump for slander is because he's a standing president. With him being a standing president, you can't sue a standing president. That's in your American laws, right? If someone is wrong, it shouldn't matter. How does he become above the law? Right? That should be our next class. Above the law. Above the law. This man is above the law. And now he's trying to give policing officers the authority to go back to doing things, unaliving black men and women for following the law. Right? From Fernando Castile was unalived because the police asked for his ID. Right? Sandra Bland was unalived because she was going to a job interview. Right? Breonna Taylor was unalived because she was sleeping. Right? Let's do something more recent. George Floyd. George Floyd was unalived because someone assumed he had a fake $20 bill. And then the manager of that store came back and said his $20 bill wasn't fake. So you're trying to tell me that according to this American law, George Floyd's life was less than $20. It was worth less than $20. So understand that we bring these things up because it's true. If it was not true, we wouldn't have to bring it up. We wouldn't have to bring it up. We wouldn't say that, you know, the powers of this government are oppressing us or keeping us down if it wasn't true. That's the only way they could get on top. If you look in the music industry, those individuals who are taking advantage of their royalties and their what's it called? Not just your royalties, but when you get your claim to your records, to your music, right? Your copyrights, all that stuff is what these black folk don't get that. You got people like Chubby Checkers had to perform to, you know, basically on his deathbed because he wasn't making money off his own music, right? Look, Aretha Franklin was performing till when? So she couldn't stand up no more. Right? You know why? Because we're not just oppressed in one fashion, right? The scripture said that you're going to be cursed in the field. In the field is where you work at. In the field is where you get your hustle on and make your money at. You're going to be cursed in the field. These are artists, and their field, their work was making music and entertaining. And the curse is what? Somebody else stole they copyrights and they royalties. It belong to someone else. They don't get passed to their children. So we are right to say that these people have oppressed our people. And with us being right to say that, we see the consequences. Get your foot off our neck. Yeah, but the Bible say our gates are languished. And you know why our gates are languished. But like we were saying, we were talking about the Pentagon. So you got something to add to that?
God, just and this story that you're about to get into is a perfect example, of them not leaving us alone. Them not allowing us to build our communities, and really flourish as a people. It has nothing to do with being victims or what have you. It's just about, it is just a fact. They oppress us. They put us behind. They have the power to do so. And we're going to read that, in this article. I'm about to sing some, sir.
Okay. And the thing about it is, these are the things that our people don't see, our people don't understand. And a lot of times when someone says something as stupid as whoever that was, something as stupid as that they were saying, right? They don't understand real life. They don't understand history or none of that, right? They don't see what's going on. You know why? Because they're so drunk off of the cup of the oppressor that they don't give a shit about Black, Native Americans, and Hispanics, right? Understand that during the Trail of Tears, they were hanging our women from trees and cutting their bellies open, allowing the babies to fall out of their bellies onto the ground. And then they would dash those babies' head against the bricks and pounce on them, right? Also during that time, you ever hear the term gator bait, idiot? They were taking these babies, right, and using them to bait gators, alligators. This is what they were doing to babies. These weren't even grown. This is what they were doing to babies. So if the oppressor does not have any, and the scripture says that, they don't care about the young or the old, right? The scripture is correct on that. They don't care about the young or the old. And with not caring about the young or the old, how are we wrong for bringing it up? This is what you did. If your father used to touch little girls, and we go out and say that is a little girl toucher, touch little boys, that's a little boy toucher, right? That's a little boy groper, a little girl groper. And we go out and say that, how is it wrong for us to say it? That's what your father doing, right? Where we will be wrong at is to do what you are doing and sweep it under the damn rug and not say nothing about it. That's what we'd be wrong at. Sweeping up under the rug and not saying nothing about it and allowing your father to continue to do what he does. That's what we would be wrong at, idiot. But let me get back to my article. Right? Understand that there was a city, right? A Black flourishing city in the area that is now the Pentagon, the area that is now the headquarters for the defenses of America, right? What was that city called? What was the name of that city? That city was called Queen City, right? This article that I'm about to go through, the name of this article is "The Lost Black Community Swallowed Up by the Pentagon." Not TD Jakes, by the Pentagon. Because TD Jakes was speaking about getting swallowed up too. But we're talking about what the Pentagon swallowed up, a Black community that was called Queen City, right? And it says a thriving all black community flourished just outside of Washington, D.C. It's nearly 1,000 residents were forcefully displaced. Now the little known city is finally being honored. Now, my quick question is that this article said they're finally being honored. You forcefully push Black folk up out of their homes. How do you honor people that you kicked out the house? Sorry, Juan, you got an answer for that, sir?
Can you ask that one more time?
How do you honor someone that you forcefully kicked out of their house? And the reason why I bring it up, because this article says that now those people that were forcefully put out, they're honored. It says a thriving all black community flourished just outside of Washington, D.C. And until it's nearly 1,000 residents were forcefully displaced, right? So that means they were pushed out and scattered. They wasn't taken and say, here, we're going to pick y'all up, take y'all here. Y'all go here. This is good. It said they were displaced. It's similar to Rosewood. What they did to Rosewood, a young white woman said a nigger raped her. Slocky, sexually assaulted her, right? Come to find out, it was her white lover. So they went and unalived thousands of black folk because of this woman's lie, right? That if that white woman lie, niggas is gonna get killed. Proof: Rosewood, Emmett Till. And if you look up not the Red Summer, right after the Red Summer was Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you look at the so-called burning, the burning of Tulsa, Oklahoma started, it was because a young brother was in the elevator with a young white woman. And in those days, y'all know the elevators bounced. As they went up and down, they bounced, right? And they shook and all that kind of stuff because we didn't have the stability and technologies now in our elevators that we got then. And one time it bounced, right? And as it bounced, he fell up against her. When the doors opened, he ran. So somebody accused him of trying to, assault the young lady. And right after that, they went looking for him. And that's how the beginning started of the burning of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right? But let's get back to this article. Oh, sir, the question. How do you honor these people?
Shoot, I would say honor them by giving it back.
That's the only way you can honor them.
You
take something from you.
You restore what it is that you destroy.
If I take something from you, right? If I destroy something if I break something of yours, just say I come to your house and I break your window, right? The only way that I can honor you is to clean up that glass that I broke and to put you a new window in. You see what I'm saying? That's the only way I can honor you is to get you that window back, get you back where you was at, and to clean up any damage that I did, right? As well as give you an apology. Shaywan, I apologize for breaking your window. I was playing baseball, bam, hit a home run. I'm Babe Ruth now. I'm Hank Aaron. I'm one of them big fellas. Long, 400 feet later, catch your window, break your window. The only way that I can honor you, an apology is not an honor. I can't just go over there and say, my bad. Your window still broke. You still got glass out. You got kids at the house, man. You got kids. And what if one of your kids stepped in that glass, cut his foot? Cut her foot, because you got boys and girls, right? What if one of your little babies step on that glass and cut their foot? And I'm just gonna give you a damn apology. My bad. That's not honoring you. That's not honoring you. To honor you would be come over there, take the rest of this broken glass out. I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna put you a new glass in. Now you got a new glass in, right? If I damage the blinds, because think about it, if I throw a brick through your window or a baseball come through your window, I might damage the blinds. I got to repair the blinds. So I got to repair the window. I got to repair the blinds or the curtains that was up there, right? Then I got to clean up the glass and make sure there's no fragments of the glass left so that your children won't harm themselves in the future because the fragments of the glass that I broke, right? So that's the only way I can honor you is to get you back to where you was before I destroyed something of yours. You know of a better way?
If I may,
please.
And it's so, and the scriptures are so heavy, like the scriptures are so poetic.
Yes, sir.
Like, what does it say in Psalms? It says, their words were smoother than butter.
Yep.
You know, but war was in his heart. Like they'll sit there and say, "We honor you." You know what I mean? We honor you. We apologize. We're sorry for all the things we've done, but they don't do anything to restore what they've destroyed.
Exactly.
I mean, that's their words being smoother than butter. You know, they're trying to tell you, you know, forget about the past. Like anytime somebody tells you to forget about the past, you gotta understand, black man, like that is a full-out attack. That is a full-out assault on you. You know what I mean? And you should be taking defense to that. You shouldn't be sitting there thinking, oh, you know, maybe he's right. Maybe I should forget what happened. You know what I mean? Like you brought up, you bust somebody's car window or you bust somebody's glass, whatever it may be. Oh, I'm sorry for what I did. You know, just forget I did that to you. Like,
just forget. I apologize. Forget that I did it.
what am I gonna say? I'm gonna honor you by
apologize,
making an article for you and apologizing. Let's remember the day I broke a Habawan's car windows.
Yes.
Every year we're gonna talk about.
Glad you said that. That's so heavy. That's heavy, sir.
God.
I'm glad you said that because you know they tell you to forget about what happened. Black, Native American, Hispanic man, they tell you to forget. Forget that happened. Forget slavery. Forget Jim Crow. Forget the years of the lynching. Forget the Red Summer. Forget the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots. Forget the bombing of the row houses, the booth. Forget them. Forget that we pushed people out of Seneca Village and turned it into Central Park. Forget that. Forget what happened in Rosewood. Forget. But then they tell you, oh, remember September 11th. Right? Remember September 11th. Right? Remember these things. Remember when they flew the planes over and those planes ran into the World Trade Centers and destroyed the World Trade Centers and unalived thousands of people. Remember that, right? Remember Pearl Harbor, right? Think about this. Over here in America at Pearl Harbor, December 4th, right? And what you do on December 4th? Have a moment of silence. What you do on September 11th? Have a moment of silence. Remember these things. They want you to continue to remember what happened to them, but they don't want you to remember 77 million Native Americans were taken advantage of, murdered, unalived, and now they commemorate that 77 million Native Americans with Thanksgiving, right? They tell you to remember Thanksgiving. They want you to remember Christmas, where you know it was lawlessness and it was like similar to the purge. Right during the winter solstice, that's from Christmas to so-called New Year's, and guess what? People who were being unalived during that time, your people, right? They tell you to remember these days. Remember Columbus Day, right? What did Columbus do? He unalived your people. They want you to remember all these days where your people was unalived, but yet at the same time they apologized, and you should accept that apology.
You know, if I may,
they apologize to honor you. They apologize to honor you.
If I may, God, you know, my son, he was reading a book last week at his school, and the book was titled, and it was about they called it the Black Migration.
Hold on, man. What you gotta understand is you got many sons. You gotta say which one, the age range.
Oh, he's a third grade.
He's a third grader. Okay, cool.
Third grade. So he's reading. He picks up this book and he's reading about the Black Migration. And you know what this book's about?
Black migration. I bet you I've heard of this book before. So it's about the transatlantic slave trade.
Kind of, a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's
the coast of Africa to get our ass whooped over here in America and sold.
and this was one of the themes of the book. It was speaking on all the white people that helped blacks in slavery. I said, yeah, man, like they want you to remember that they helped you. You know what I mean? They don't want you to remember that, you know, it was hard bondage. You know what I mean?
Well, I would like to say this, if I may.
Okay.
Remember the Holocaust. Understand that Germans also helped some of those so-called Jews escape. Remember those Germans. They helped you people.
Good night.
They helped the Jewish man. Those Germans helped you. Remember, it's stories about how some of those German couples hid the Jewish children under the floorboards in their house. Right? They hid their parents, you know, in underground, almost like underground tunnels. Right? So they should remember those and appreciate those Germans that helped them.
Yes.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. You should have the people of Elm Street remember Freddy Krueger. Have the people of Elm Street remember Freddy Krueger, because some of y'all didn't want those children anyway. Remember Freddy Krueger. You know, how what camp was Michael Myers at? Or Jason? Which camp was that? What was that camp called?
I don't remember.
I cannot remember the name of that camp. Yeah, so it sounds nuts. It sounds nuts. Okay, they helped you. They helped you do what? Anytime the oppressor helps you, it's because something is padding in his pocket. NAACP is ran by oppressors. It's padding their pockets, right? Guess what? Your oppressor is not going to help you unless it's a financial gain for him. Proof. I'm gonna prove it with the rap game. What was that oppressor that helped MWA go mainstream?
Oh, I'm not sure.
If somebody in the comments know. What was the name of the oppressor that helped MWA go mainstream with their music? Right? And understand is he helped MWA get money. Right? He helped them get money, and he robbed the hell out of them too. That's why Cube left. And Cube left and came up with the title, with the song art, with the record No Vaseline, and it said the NWA was getting ran with no Vaseline.
Damn.
You know that. You know, we ain't talking about diss tracks this week, but you know that gotta be top 3. You see how these people trying to take me off my subject today?
That's lucky.
All I want to do is talk about Queen City. See, I had to keep my discipline. Let me get back to the article. Right? It says the stout jug-like building rises 35 feet above the greenery of Arlington, Virginia Metropolitan Park, a green path-laced oasis set amidst Amazon's new headquarters, constructed from 5,000 odd red bricks. Says the structure feels both industrial and earthy, and stepping inside, the small space revealed hundreds of glistening glazed ceramic bulbs cascading from above in waves of blue, green, and brown. This is Queen City, an art installation paying homage to the 903 African American residents of the infamous all-black community, as well as the surrounding East Arlington neighborhood, who were forcefully removed from their homes in the early 1940s to make way for the construction of the Pentagon. Now, why did these people have to be removed in order for the Pentagon to be constructed? Because understand this, in 1940, is more land. They could have just went farther west, created a Pentagon, and not did anything to do what? Affect the black community. Right? When these eminent domains come through and it affects the black community, think about it. Your oppressor could go somewhere else and do the same thing, and it won't affect that community in that area. Right? They just here in Detroit, your oppressor just built a second bridge to Canada. So are you familiar with that? We got 2 bridges to Canada coming out of Detroit now.
Yeah, come.
Now 2 bridges and a tunnel coming out of Detroit to go to Canada, right? So I don't know if you're familiar with the Delray area, but that's a great fishing spot. Y'all ever get down there? Delray Park is a good spot to do some fishing at. I'm gonna plug some fishing because I like to fish. Right. So right at Delray, if you go down to Delray, the bridge run right over there, over that park. The second bridge is which actually the first bridge was the Ambassador Bridge, and it's down there off of 4th Street area. You'll see it. It's a park. The river. We used to call it the foot of the boulevard, where 4th Street and the boulevard is at, and that's where the Ambassador Bridge. But what you have to understand is that the Ambassador Bridge is right almost in the heart of the Hispanic area of Detroit, right? So black people down there in Delray area, they took their land to build a second bridge. And the first bridge, they took the land from Hispanic folk to build that bridge, right? So, why does eminent domain never affect rich areas, rich white areas? You know why it doesn't? Because they're the one to pass the laws. I'm not about to pass a law to hurt my people. Would you? I'm not about to pass a law that's going to hurt and affect my people drastically in a negative connotation. No, I'm not about to pass the law to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass a law that's going to affect somebody else. So I'm going to let you know right now, if I was in leadership of this country to pass laws, my laws would negatively affect the 12 tribes of Israel. It'll negatively affect Esau, the Amalek, the Amorite, Elam, Ammon. It would negatively affect them. It would be laws to say you can't cook cats and dogs in America. I will make laws like that. You can't cook cats and dogs in America. And since you can't cook cats and dogs, and I make a joke about it, but in my neighborhood I grew up in, we walked to school and walked to and from school, right? At least twice a week, we getting chased by a dog. You getting chased by a dog at least twice a week. Like, so if I get chased by a dog, 2 times a week, and then my neighbor get chased 2 times a week, and then my brother get chased, and my cousin down the street, and another neighbor around the corner, I'm just understand this. It was a lot of loose dogs out. But Chinese food started popping up in the neighborhood, right? And I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Those dogs disappeared.
Unless they really it really teamed up with PETA and forced PETA to come out and remove these stray dogs from the area. And I don't know what happened to them. I can't tell you.
I can't tell you. I can tell you they eat dog in China. That is not a conspiracy.
I can tell you they eat dog in China. I can tell you that, remember the term "let the cat out the bag"?
God.
Do you know where that came from?
La.
So the term "let the cat out of the bag" it came from people used to go down and to buy like a little piglet, right? They'd go to the market or whatever, they were selling little piglets, and they would go there to buy a little piglet. So the people who were they had a piglet sitting there, and then when you turn your head, instead of grabbing a pig and dropping it in the bag, they'd put a cat in there. Right. So when you get home, you open up a bag, the cat come flying out. That's what the term "let the cat out the bag," because you're getting swindled, thinking you're getting a pig or a lamb or some small, not a lamb, but a pig or some piglet or something like that. And you think you got a piglet, you open up the bag, a damn cat jump out. Let the cat out the bag. Now, if you want, I could bring up other articles where, it's not, it's that the oppressor, the number one oppressor, he ate cat too. Mm-hmm. I was just watching some survival show the other day, and they was eating a lynx. A lynx is like a big house cat.
God.
Right? They ate a lynx. Some other ones ate a fox. A fox is a dog. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't make it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't make it. Like all you got is cat and dog. I'm straight pimping. I can't eat that. I'm gonna get over here and I'm gonna get skinny, and I can lose another 20, 30 pounds and be all right. Right, but look, let's get back to the article. It says, right, it says where we were at. Okay, it says what they did to us was an atrocity, said 93-year-old Dr. William Violin, who remembers his childhood in Queen City before he and his family were kicked out. So understand what eminent domain is. This wasn't eminent domain. Eminent domain is the government. What the government is supposed to do when it does eminent domain, you're supposed to get 2 to 2.5 times what your property is worth. Right. And what they do is they take that over for governmental affairs or whatever they may do. Right. Understand is that this man did not explain anything that they did. What he did say is they kicked them out. So his family didn't get paid from that. Same thing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Those families were kicked out, right? Tulsa, Oklahoma is one of the first times that American soil was bombed, and it was bombed by other Americans, right? He said there was an alleyway with small houses on each side. We had a black fire department, churches, barbershops, all kinds of business, he said, recalling how he and his friends used to play and walk to school together. He says, and while there was no running water or electricity common in white neighborhoods at the time, you understand what we're saying? He says, while there was no running water or electricity common in white neighborhoods at the time. So the white neighborhoods at the time didn't have any running water or have any electricity. So Queen City residents made do in their tight-knit community. It was like one big family. Said 2.5 miles away at the Black Heritage Museum in Arlington, Queen City, little known story is highlighted through photos and artifacts. According to Dr. Scott Taylor, a third generation Arlington and museum president, the Lost Cities story starts at Arlington House, the neoclassical mansion established in the early 1800s by George Washington Parke Custis, the step-grandson of Martha Washington, who was raised by George and Martha Washington, enslaved from George Washington's estate, Mount Vernon, built Arlington houses before working on the property and in the home. General Robert E. Lee, y'all know who Robert E. Lee is, who In 1831, Mary Custis Harris of Arlington House, the heirs of Arlington House, lived here in the years leading up to the United States Civil War. After joining the Confederacy, Lee left, never to return. After many years of focusing on the Custis Lee story, Arlington House recently and his re-image to encompass the voice of African Americans who lived and labored there too, right? Understand what this is saying, right? It says just 2.5 miles away from the Black Heritage Arlington Museum, right? That a third generation Arlington, and you know, that's a third generation person that lived there was Dr. Taylor Scott. He says, and now he's the museum president, right? He has the Arlington House story, right? He says the mansions, he said this is 1800, you know, George Washington, Martha Washington, you know, enslaved individuals from George Washington's estate, Mount Arlington. So those individuals built the Arlington House before working on the property and the home of General Robert E. Lee, who in 1831 married his wife, Mary. She is the heir of the Arlington House. Understand this stuff was built where? It was built by who? It was built in the Black community by Black individuals. It says after the Emancipation and Proclamation of 1 January 1863, free enslaved people in the Confederate States, the federal government established Freeman's Village on the Arlington House property, which would later become Arlington National Cemetery. So Freeman's Village, right, which was established on the Arlington House property, later became a cemetery. And guess who? I can imagine who was in that cemetery. It says the planned community and clapboard houses, school, churches, and roads became a thriving village for formerly enslaved workers, right? So this area became a thriving area for formerly enslaved people. Reformer and writer Frederick Douglass often visited and an abolitionist, Sojourner Truth, who lived in the village for a year and a half, beginning in 1864, advised villagers on their rights. Right. So now you're starting to see some of the famous names that came up out of this place. Right. These are, if you look into your Black history books, you will see American history books, you will see Frederick Douglass as an abolitionist, and so as Sojourner Truth as an abolitionist, right? You got anything, sir?
No, keep on.
All right. It says at the time, Arlington was 75 to 80% Black, right? 75 to 80% Black. Taylor said there was so much Black activity then. People were learning to read and write. They were buying property, starting businesses. John Spanks, an African-American politician born free in Virginia, became a delegate. The scared white people this scared white people. So with John Flax, an African-American politician born free in Virginia, when he became a delegate, this scared white people. That's why that's why the federal government closed Freeman Village. By 1900, the thriving village had been dismantled, with few homes and business owners fairly compensated. So look at this. It says have been dismantled. Now understand this earlier. Dr. What was that? Dr. Scott Taylor. Dr. Scott Taylor said, they were pushed out. Dr. Scott Taylor said they were pushed out. His people was pushed out. But right here it says by 1900 by 1900 the thriving village had been dismantled. Think about this. By the 1900s, the thriving means to be upcoming, means to be, building, prospering. Your Christian pastor always talk about prospering. So I'm going to assume that some of us may know what the term prosper and thriving mean, right? You're going to have a thriving society. Ain't that what your Christian pastor say to you? I'm going to have to work on my Christian pastor, Sharon. I thought I had you on that. Work on my Christian pastor voice a little bit. And it was said then and we have ums and uhs and thens. So a thriving village had been dismantled with few homes and business owners fairly compensated. So the homeowners and the business owners were not compensated. It say fairly, right? It say were. Let me see this again. Said the thriving village had been dismantled with few homes and businesses with business owners fairly compensated. So few homeowners, few business owners were compensated, right? Now, with this area being 75 to 80% black, and then they're saying only a few people were compensated, I'm going to assume that the 75 to 80% didn't get compensated. What you think, sir?
Yeah, so like here, not only did they not get compensated, but this story is so repetitive.
Yes, sir.
All the communities that have been destroyed, and there was something you said earlier that I thought was so heavy, in that as our communities are being destroyed, not only are we not being compensated, like the article said earlier, we're displaced, our communities lost. Like the flip side is, there's Esau has there's some big what's it called? There's like a battle in the courts right now because there's this man who I think he's in it's a city called Barrie. It's like north of Toronto. He has like hundreds of acres of land. He bought it all dirt cheap during World War II. And the government wants to build highways. They want to put farming there. They want to build up communities and infrastructure. And this man refuses to sell it.
I wouldn't sell it either. I'll lease it to their ass.
Yeah, he won't sell none of it.
I would lease it to him. I would put land in the trust and lease it to him.
Good. It's funny how much land he owns and purchased. He won't get rid of none of it. He has a couple community centers named after him that he built up. But
damn, you said a couple community centers.
Yeah. I gotta find the name.
You get one, right? A few? Oh,
yeah, he's got a couple. And it's funny because
is this a white man?
Yeah, this is a devil.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a devil. He
wants to see devils get mad at each other.
Yeah, they sitting there fighting in courts. It's almost like a clown show in the court, but he's not giving up none of it. But when it comes to our community, it could be for any reason they want, any reason they come up with. They're going to destroy our community. For whatever, they want to build highways, parks. It's always the same thing. They want to put a railway there. They want to put a park. They want to put roads. Like this one, they want the Pentagon. You know what I mean? For whatever reason they say. This community is it's under maintenance, and we want to gentrify the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like they'll come up with any story, any excuse under the sun to destroy our community.
I'm the type of person to say that eminent domain and gentrification destroy black communities. It does. It destroys black communities, right? And eminent domain and gentrification destroy black communities faster than crack cocaine and Christianity. Because think about this. We live in the city of Detroit. Well, I do. Well, and in the city of Detroit, I remember in what was about 2007, between 2007, 2010, you could buy a house for $3,000-$4,000. Now you got to put about 15,000 in it, get it livable, right? But think about it. You can have a nice 4-bedroom house plush for under $20,000, right? Because all the things were dilapidated in the city of Detroit. Gentrification hit.
Yeah.
Now you see the white man walking around Mac and B-Wig, walking dogs. I remember when I was younger, we would see a white person in our neighborhood. You could only be one of two things: a crackhead or a cop, right? Or a cop posing as a crackhead. You only be one of two things: a crackhead or a cop, or a cop posing as a crackhead.
Good.
That was it. You wouldn't see. You would get the occasional the white girls that mess with the brothers. They'll get the twos and fews of them moving in the hood, and then next thing you know, they wearing braids and shit. But as far as, and that was during the crack epidemic, right? But now during this eminent domain and this gentrification, right? Our neighborhoods are those houses that we could buy for $4,000-$5,000, put another $15,000 into it, and then have a suitable house for our family. Those houses are no longer $4,000 or $5,000. Those houses not even $20,000. Those houses $60,000 now. Those houses $70,000. I seen a house the other day, gutted. They're asking $65,000 for this house. This is a 5-bedroom, $65,000. Right? You got to put $65,000 in this house. But since gentrification, since your oppressor has come in and raised the price of your houses, he gonna come in for a little bit, he gonna sweep in, gonna raise the prices of your houses, he gonna sell the houses, he gonna get out the game, and then your neighborhood, if Christ don't return, your neighborhood is gonna become dilapidated again, and all they're gonna do is come back, sweep in, and buy the houses for nothing, buy it for low. So that's why they push black on black crime, right? Like you were saying earlier, the words are smoother than butter. They push these things to diminish the value and the property value inside the Black, Native American, Hispanic communities, right? They try to divide the Black man and Hispanic man. Black man, I'm gonna tell you this: if you live in the city of Detroit, go down to Southwest Detroit and get you some Hispanic friends. Get your son, Hispanic man. If you in those Hispanic areas in Detroit, come into the inner city and get you some Black friends, right? And both of y'all come into the ISUPK and let the Commanding General Yohana show you how you could be brothers building this nation. Let him show you, right? Because if you don't, your oppressor is going to keep telling you that he is the reason why your community not thriving, and he is the reason why your community not thriving when it's your oppressor, right? I hear a lot of people say, I'm right wing and I'm left wing. I'm left wing and I'm right wing. I hear this in the Black community. I'm Republican. I'm Democratic. In the Black community, I'm gonna let you know something. If you if you're right wing or left wing, it's off the same damn bird. It's from the same bird, right? Bird got a left wing and a right wing. A plane got a left wing and a right wing. It cannot fly. Think about this. Your oppressor can't fly unless he got two wings, right? But yet still, you the people on the inside working, and these wings is telling you, oh, it's their fault. And then when they get on the lower level, you go inside the plane. All right, you got the the blacks here, the Native American here, Hispanics here, right? The oppressor flying the plane and telling y'all it's somebody else's fault. That's the reason why you on the level you on. Or that's why your level can't thrive is because the blacks, Native, and Hispanics. And they telling blacks, Native, and Hispanics the reason why they people can't thrive is because of them. No. Look who's telling you this. Look whose school district it is. Look what Donald Trump is doing to our school. You can't even teach schooling anymore. You're getting rid of the Department of Education. You say the Department of Education don't educate. Right? He's getting rid of the subsidies and the programs that help you, inner city folk, inner city black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. Look who's getting rid of these programs that helps you. When I grew up, we had all type of programs in the school itself. Right now, this is in the 90s. Right, I ain't gonna tell you. You know, yes, I went to school in the 90s. Sharp one, yes, nigga. I went to school in the 90s and the 80s.
Good.
I went to school in the 80s and the 90s. Middle school, high school, yes. In the 2000s, I went to secondary schools, trade schools and college and stuff like that in the early 2000s. But understand this is that even grew up in neighborhoods at that time, I understood that it had to be before, and this is before I joined the ISUPK, it has to be some outside force causing us to be this way, right? Because our neighborhood, the kids got together, we came up, the kids could get together and the kids would play, right? It's all black folk in my neighborhood, blocks over. But at the same time you had 4-5 crack houses on a block. Crack was that prevalent in the 80s where you had 4-5 crack houses on the same city block. Not just, running, 3, 4, 5, 6, this on the same block. And then right around the corner is 4, 5 more. That's how much crack was being sold in our neighborhood. Right. And if you had a parent, a cousin, a sister, a brother, if you had a family that didn't have a member that was on crack in the 80s and the early 90s, right? You was looked at as rich. And reason being is because you didn't have that element to be burning the finances out of the household. I had a friend of mine. Her father was one of the reasons why I got into engineering at a young age, right? So her father would always talk about how he worked at one of these major automotive manufacturers. You notice I ain't say their name, but one of these major automotive manufacturers. He's talking about how much money he made and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time he's talking about his education, his degrees. And on the same time is that he got off to hanging out with some individuals who started smoking crack. So he went from living in one of the prestige neighborhoods in the city of Detroit during the 80s and 90s to selling his TVs out of his house. Right. And the reason why I bring that up is because we had an individual earlier say, who said that this, he said it was weak for you to say that somebody was oppressing you or keeping you down, right? He said it was weak, but yeah, still, black people didn't bring crack cocaine into the neighborhood. Ronald Reagan did. Ronald Reagan did. And then look at it. Look how the devil is so manipulative. He brought the dope in. So he sold the dope. He dropped the dope off in the neighborhood, sold the dope in the neighborhood, then came up with a crime force, with a policing force to go attack the dope. So I'm bringing the dope in the neighborhood, and then I'm getting paid for bringing the dope in the neighborhood, and then I'm getting paid for attacking the dope so it won't be in the neighborhood. You know what that's like? That's like a fireman getting paid for putting out the fires that he started. Right? That's a police officer getting paid to investigate a shooting that he did. right?
Mm-hmm.
It's called the hero. It's a term called the hero syndrome, right? And they started it with firefighters, where firefighters would some of these firefighters would set houses and buildings and stuff like that on fire, and then they'd be the first responders, so they go in and save everybody, right? So now they look good on the news because I saved everybody. That's what your oppressor does to you. He sets your house on fire, and then he expects you to praise him when he puts it out, right? He expects you to praise him when you get your insurance money and you pay him to rebuild your house that he set on fire. So I go on and on and on. You sure you ain't got nothing?
If I may, there was something you had said earlier, that it had me. I was just looking something up while you were talking, but it was that thought again of our brothers or sisters, being liberal or Republican, you know what I mean, whatever party. And what came to my mind is like, have we not seen historically that voting and being a part of different parties has not changed the condition of our people?
Not at all.
And so it doesn't even matter which side you on. To me, you look goofy as hell to actually believe in like American politics. And I was just looking up. I was looking up some of the like the wealth gaps, and I had an article here that said in 2021, Asian households had a median net worth of $320,000, compared with $250,000 for white households. The median net worth of a Hispanic household was $48,000, and the black household was $27,000. And it's like, that's statistics in the year 2021. So how long have you been voting? How long did you fight to, for your vote to mean something? How many times did we march so that, we could get the rights to vote? And now we're going to be here in 2025 and say, hey, I'm a pro-Republican. Professional. I mean, professional liberal. You're picking a party as if, this is doing something for you. We actually had in Canada this year the highest, they say the highest statistics of people that voted. I think they say something like 67% of Canadians voted, which, if it's true, was telling me that either people are so fed up of the way, the Canadian government is running things, or they actually believe that that voting in this system is going to change something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And again, just looking historically, it hasn't done nothing. For 2021, for the black household's average income to be $27,000 compared to the white household that's $250,000. Like what gap did you decrease? Like what steps have you made here in America? You know what I mean? It's kind of laughable. So like that was it.
Yeah, and what's so heavy about what you're saying, that goes right along with, but I don't remember which general was teaching this the other day, a little while ago, but he was saying that we have always been the first fired and the last hired, right? It's not that we don't have the skill set to do, the jobs, to build the businesses, right? We don't have the skill set to do that. The issue is we're held back, right? You can have an oppressor, and you can have one of the brothers in the 12 tribes with the same, we'll say, academic achievements, right? With the same we'll say with the same experience. Even the brother from the 12 tribes could have more experience and more academic achievements. They're going to give that job to that oppressor's son, right? Nepotism is real. Understand this. If you own a business, you own a business, just say you own a major car manufacturing facility, right?
Right.
Y'all building, 600 cars a shift, 3 shifts, 6-7 days a week, so you can keep up with customer demand, right? You the owner. As the owner, right, you're going to hire people to put people in place to make your facility thrive and keep thriving. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. You're going to do that, right? Regardless of, you're going to look for the best candidate to do the job for you. Now, even though the best candidate, is Black, Native American, or Hispanic, right? You'll see one of these, you being a Black man, you being a Black man, you'll see one of these folks like, oh yeah, I'm a hirer. For real? Because now as a Black man, and this us, as a Black man, I want to see another Black man thrive. Right? That's when you born up, that's when you raised up, loving your people. But the oppressor, he gonna see that this Black man has this, if the oppressor was the owner of the company and he see that this Black man has these achievements and accolades, he's trying to get my job. How? And you own a damn company. How you own a damn company? Personal experience, I went on an interview and the plant manager was called out during the interview. And the plant manager say, you interviewing for a tech position? I say, yeah. He said, why? I say, to be honest, sir, I need a job. I need to work. My savings are, they're dwindling, and my bills are piling up on me. So I need a job. He said, "What you want this tech job? This tech job, it only pays such an hour." I said, "Well, I can put my foot in the door and I can move up, right? You say you got room for advancement." He said, "Yeah, but with your accolades," he said, "you can have my job." He said, "You trying to come in here and take my job?" I say, "Why? Well, I'm trying to take your job, and I'm starting off as a technician." Right. I say, by the time I get up to your rank in this facility, you probably be retired. And then you probably will be training me to become the next plant manager. But as of right now, I just want to be a tech. Let me come in here, fix and work on your machines. I never heard back from that job. Right. Understand, I'm getting interviewed by the supervisor for the tech, and I'm getting interviewed by him and the HR manager, and they call in the plant manager. So what they seen was, oh, we might have another spot we could put this brother in, right? I ain't gonna say brother. We might have another spot we could put this guy in according to his resume. But the plant manager, he didn't want to take that chance. And that's the type of thing that's going on in this world now, is that the Bible says this is not our rest, right? With this not being our rest, we're going to have to work our ass off to get a crumb. We have to work our ass off to get a crumb. We're working our ass off to get a crumb. Even for us to get that crumb, we have to understand, according to the scriptures, they are confederate against us, right? What that means is that they want to wipe us out from being a nation. They don't want you to get that crumb, Israel. These other nations don't want you to get that crumb, right? And the thing about it is, with them not wanting you to get that crumb, they understand that all you want is a crumb, right? What was that scripture where Christ had called the woman a dog? Right, and she was asking about, can't the dog eat the crumbs that fall from the children's table? Right, and Christ was like, you know what? You recognize who the hell you are, and I'm paraphrasing. You recognize who you are. You recognize that you're a dog, that you're nothing. right? And then he ended up blessing the woman. Your enemy, your oppressor is not going to do it. He don't give a shit. He don't want you eating those crumbs because he understands that if the black man get a crumb, he can take this crumb and make this a nibble. Take this nibble and make this a bite. You take this bite, these little couple of bites, and make this a meal. He already know that you're going to come up because he starved you so much, and he's amazed at where you at right now, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. Right? I don't like to bring this up, but I read this book called The Art of War. And one of the things in this book, you know, and the Art of War is really based off tactics that the Israelites used to fight off their enemies, right? And one of the tactics was when you have a nation that's bigger, stronger, and more powerful than you, you don't directly attack it. You don't directly attack it, right? What you do is you surround that nation and you cut off the resources. And anytime they send anything out to receive resources, you cut those agendas, those band of men or whatever it may be, you cut that out. You cut it down, you destroy it immediately so that they can't send out message to get help or resources. And then those resources never come back. And eventually what ends up happening is that if you don't allow resources in and out, food in and out, that nation that you have surrounded will eventually start to feed on itself, right? Which means it'll start to rob, attack, and steal from one another. And is that not what we're seeing in the black community now? Is that not what we're seeing, sir?
God.
And the reason why we're seeing that because our oppressor, think about it, has surrounded us. You can't get. Think about this. These Edomite schools got all type of after school programs, you know, football, basketball, soccer. They got this science and this STEM program. They got all type of stuff, chess, volleyball, name it. They got it. In the public schooling in Detroit, what sports you got? You got basketball, you got football. Only certain schools got volleyball. Certain schools, only a few of the schools got golf. They got to compete against the suburban schools that have it, right? So you got the elite schools like, you know, Cass, Renaissance, and King. They got, you know, certain sports that the other inner city schools like what is it? I'm gonna name schools of my time. I'm not naming schools now. Like, you know, you Central, Murray Wright, McKenzie don't have. Right. I don't know if do you see the same thing in over in Windsor with the because I know you got kids in public schooling now, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more integrated over here.
The schooling?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like, you know, they put all our kids, bunch them up, put them in these schools.
Yeah.
The schools that has the most integration are the top elite schools, which is like Cass, Renaissance, King. You'll see integration in those schools, but you see very little diversity when it comes to the student body when you start to step outside of those schools.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, my kids, I try to keep them in the inner city schools, but I try to put them in some of the what did they call those schools? Like Pell schools or something like that. I forget what they called them back then. Right. But they're supposed to be some of the primary schools that you didn't have to pay for. It's like a level below private school.
God.
So it was still like high-end public school at the time. So we're doing that. And then if it wasn't that, then you got to take them out the city. So, you know, one of my daughters graduated from Wayne Memorial, which was an integrated school. But at the same time, it was from what was going on with Detroit public schools at the time, it was much better. What we got there, sir?
God, so like there's a couple comments. We had Officer Mashar in the chat.
You know, he could have showed up.
he had made a comment. I think this is a while ago we were talking about this. He had said he had asked, do you think getting rid of the government support will force us to care for one another?
Yes, it's getting rid of the government. When you get rid of that government crutch, right? The scripture says, come together, O nation that is not desired. So if you get rid of that government crutch, right? Guess what? We're going to rewind the times. We go back to 1975, right? 1965, when the government came into the black household and told that woman, hey, black woman, if you get rid of that nigga over there with the big shoes, I'll throw you some food stamps, right? I'll give you health care, right? I'll throw you a little monthly stipend. The nigga pimped our women. He pimped our women into getting rid of their husbands, right? And the reason what he did was, on the other side, don't get that nigga no job. Don't get that black man no job. Don't get that Native American man, that Hispanic man no job. Because what I'm going to do is, I'm going to convince his woman to put his ass out. We're convincing this woman to put him out. Now he ain't got no money. You don't need him. He ain't got no money, right? With him not having no money, you don't need no man. Our women are the only women that say they don't need no man. You don't hear that from the Asian woman. You don't hear that from the German woman. You don't hear that from the Chinese, the Japanese. You don't hear that from no other woman but black, Native American, Hispanic women. They don't need no man, right? So if that crutch would have been removed back then, right? Our women talking about they don't need no man now. Our women wouldn't say that. I don't need no man, right? Because guess what? Grandma, even though granddaddy had a woman on the other side of town, grandma still needed granddaddy. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Even though granddaddy had that family, grandma took care of granddaddy and said nothing about his other family because she wasn't leaving. She knew she had the best that she had. This is the best. This is the best. Grandpa is the best I'm gonna have. So why worry about what he do outside my house? Right? The thing about it is you got a lot of I ain't gonna get into that because we'll be here another 2 hours. What else we got up there?
We had Officer Awadja checking in.
Shalom, sir. Yabashim Shabbatah.
That was it for comments.
That was it for comments. Well, what else we got going? Let's say if you want to bring up anything else. You got something, sir?
Khan, and just kind of piggyback off what you were saying, before integration, like I'll give some examples for hearing the history of Windsor. Mm-hmm. We had our own barber shops. Mm-hmm. We weren't allowed to go to white people's school, so we had our own school. You know what I mean? And when you went to that own school, you were a part of your community.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep, go ahead.
Right. I'm gonna ask you a question because you brought up something that's really dear to the black man, and that's barbershops. Mm-hmm. Right. Understand? We get into a barbershop, we get to talk about anything. I'm surprised that the feds don't raid barbershops. Right. They raided the Black Panthers and the Move and all those folk. I'm surprised the FBI ain't in barbershops. But speaking of barbershops, have you ever had a white barber?
Me? Hell no. that shit does not make sense to me. Salaki.
Have you ever seen a white barber in the barbershop?
Oh, good question.
In the inner city. Anybody out there in the comment land, please let me know. Have you ever seen a white barber in the barbershop in the inner city? In the inner city. And the reason why I asked this question, because I watched Barbershop the other day.
Didn't they had a devil in there?
And what's that? Yeah.
In Barbershop, they did, right?
They had a devil in there. Remember the brother that was beefed out with him, let him cut his hair.
I vaguely remember that, and nobody wanted to sit with him.
Nobody wanted to sit in it. Nope.
Yeah,
I was going to. I think Cedric the Entertainer was like half blind in the barbershop, messing people. They were going to him. This oppressor. Yeah. That's how we got to be, black folk. We got to not give them a chance, like they don't give us a chance, right? I don't want to take a chance on a Edomite rapper, Edomite singer. You know, I like country music, but the country music I listen to, you know, you got Anthony Q, King Jerome. You know, you got all them individuals, them brothers. I can't take a chance, you know, on listening to something. You know, I ain't the achy breaky heart cat. Nope. Now, my mother, she listens to that genre of country. It ain't got enough soul in it for me. So I can't have the oppressor to do the shape up. Here, man, this net just driving me crazy. So you know, you shouldn't get shape ups anyway, but you're gonna have the oppressor do you one, right? Let me walk into, you know, because you know sometimes I like to get the beard taken down some, and I go in there and get the beard taken down some, but I ain't about to sit in one of them oppressor chairs. I can't take the chance of I'm sitting there and he cut all my beard off. Now I got the oppressor face. Like we got one, boys. You got a Confederate flag T-shirt on and shit. But sir, if you want to go ahead and take us out.
Okay. Yeah. You know, for water for everybody who tuned in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. All right. Help get the algorithm up. You know what I mean? Make sure you share these classes. Help get this truth out. So more of our brothers and sisters, you know, can find the leader that we have here in the ISUPK. You know what I mean? This brother, Commander General Hanna, will truly fix us as a nation. He'll truly heal us. You understand? And it's really what we need here for how destroyed we here are in America. So with that, I'm going to say shalom. Again, for water for tuning in. Yahweh Shem Shabrak Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Thumb by Shem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. All right, shalom, Israel.